In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon His last and beloved Messenger Muhammad, and may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all. This is the fifth part of a series entitled Discoveries from the Quran. And in this series I show, with the guidance of Allah God Almighty, the superiority of the knowledge of Allah in the last revelation to people of the Quran, and how the knowledge of Allah in the Quran is far superior to the knowledge of people in this day and age, and how by pondering upon the verses of this book, the teacher would be, the believer would be the teacher of others and not the one on the receiving end. So the topic in this presentation is the future of energy in Jordan. And what do I mean by this? Now, in Jordan there is a problem of energy, a huge dependency on oil, and that, for example, and that's of course it's a burden, because it's very expensive. It pollutes the environment so much. So people are trying to find alternative energy sources. For example, they are trying to invest in wind energy and shale oil, but there are problems with all of these kind of for example, shale oil, it produces so much pollution. So the question, what is the future of energy in Jordan? Now, if we ponder upon the Quran, Allah teaches us the answer for this in two verses. The first one is verse number 17 of chapter 18 of the Quran, which reads, this is translation, "And you see the sun when it rose declining to the right from their cave, and when it set turning away from them to the left, while they lay in the midst of the cave. That is of the signs of Allah God. He whom Allah God guides is rightly guided, but he whom He sends astray, for him you will find no wali to lead him." So here Allah God Almighty is telling us about the story of the people of the cave. And just to give you a quick summary of this, is that these people, a number of people, they fled from oppression, and they came here to Jordan, which now Jordan is located, and they hid in a cave. So Allah is describing here the scene. He's telling us, "And you see the sun when it rose declining to the right from their cave, and when it set turning away from them to the left." So Allah is drawing our attention here to the sun, solar energy. Now the question now, when the people, they hid themselves in a cave and they slept for more than 300 years, did they need energy? The answer is yes. Why? Firstly, one of the main characteristics of caves is that they are very cold inside, even in the summer, and it's worse in the winter. And when people are asleep, their circulation is much slower, so their body temperature is lower. So combining the fact they are sleeping there with a low temperature of the cave, that would have caused problems in their circulation, and problems with insufficient or very slow circulation can cause tissue death in the human body. So they needed energy. The second part is that a person needs sunlight to stimulate the production of vitamin D, which is very important for the health of our bones, to keep them strong. So if the people of the cave are sleeping more than 300 years, if they don't have adequate exposure to sunlight, their bones would have become so weak, having osteoporosis and weakening of the bones. They would have problems and so much pain. So we see that Allah God Almighty shows us what energy He utilized to supply the people of the cave with: solar energy. And why do I say the future of energy in Jordan? Because as I said, the cave of the people of the cave is located in Jordan. So Allah is drawing our attention to the main source of energy in Jordan, which is the sun. Because in Jordan we have sunlight more than 300 days a year. Almost the whole year we have sunlight. So if we invest in solar energy, we have clean energy and we have energy independence, meaning no one is controlling the sun. You have energy independence, and that is very important as a source of power. Okay. The second, okay, this is just pictures of the cave, of the people of the cave. Here is the entrance of the cave, and as I said, it's located now in Jordan. Okay, and you can see always sunny. You see here the sun, always sunny. Okay, the second verse to ponder upon is verse number 18 of chapter 18 of the Quran, which reads, "And you would have thought them awake, whereas they were asleep, and Allah God turned them on their right and on their left sides, and their dog stretching forth his two forelegs at the entrance. Had you looked at them, you would certainly have turned back from them in flight, and would certainly have been filled with awe of them." So here Allah is telling us that Allah used to turn the people of the cave while they're sleeping to their right and to their left, turning them in their sleep. And if we link that to the fact that Allah describes to us in the previous verse that the movement of the sun in the sky, and you can see, glory be to Allah Almighty, that how Allah used to turn them from the right to the left is the same action, it tracks the same movement of the sun in the sky from the right to the left. So here Allah is teaching us a very important thing in how to harness solar energy, solar tracking. That the people of the cave, Allah used to turn them with the same movement of the sun in the sky. Why? Because their face should face the sun in order to gain the maximum amount of solar energy, because they're used in a cave and there's a small hole in the cave. So they need to track solar energy to absorb the maximum power from the sun, because if the sun hit them in the back of the head, they would not absorb that much energy. Okay, so Allah is teaching us here solar tracking. So you see the power of the knowledge of Allah God in the Quran. So to have practical applications of this, here is just one example. If we start in Jordan with our homes in the house, if we installed solar cells or solar panels for each house, and we installed a motor here to turn it to the right to the left, as Allah used to turn the people of the cave from the right to the left, in order to harness the maximum power from the sun. So we have these solar cells, solar panels, and tracking the movement of the sun. This energy harnessed, if we start by using it in the home, for example, for the appliances, for lighting the rooms, we start having energy independence. Clean energy, all benefits are there. And why, as I said, in Jordan? Because Jordan is sunny almost all the year. So we have a huge source of energy. And that will reduce our dependency on oil. Okay, and if we link this presentation with another one I did in the past about how to the perfect design for a solar collector. This is not an optimized design for a solar collector. We learned the optimal design for a solar collector by pondering upon trees, and that's in my website. You can see this previous lecture. So if we combine that with this one, we would have an excellent technology in solar energy, in harnessing solar energy. And to know more details about this topic, please visit my website at www.quran-miracle.com. This is the website. And you can email me at zaidquran@yahoo.com. And may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon you all.